And welcome back to Who Would Win. This one comes to us from at least two of my viewers. Savini Jason Voorhees, and I know that it took me to realize what the first name was. I'm like, oh, like Paul Savini, like the effects artist. Okay. Savini Jason Voorhees, and a long time ago, King Getsuga gave me the suggestion. That is, who win a fight? The Creeper from Jeepers Creepers versus Jason Voorhees. Now, obviously, there are different incarnations of Jason that we'll go over in this. There's only one interpretation of the Creeper so far. Excuse me. And it's one of those things where it's kind of difficult to really explain, like, the Creeper. Jason's easy, because Jason's been around for God knows how long. The Creeper, in terms of horror movie icons, horror movie villains, creatures, whatever, is still a relatively new concept. I think the first one came out in, 2002? Jeepers Creepers? It was the early 2000s. And then the second one came out like 2 years later. Let's see, Jeepers Creepers. Jeepers Creepers. Alright. First one came out in, 2001. Never mind that. And then Jeepers Creepers 2 came out in... Jeepers Creepers 2 came out in 2003. Yeah, 2 was there. Then the third one took like 10 years later because the guy who made it is a known child pedophile. And yeah, so Polanski's a piece of shit. Anyway. But that said, there is things we can extrapolate about the Creeper. So let's go over the Creeper first, because Jason I can go over in my sleep at this point. The Creeper, it's not really known. I mean, it said the fourth one will go into the actual origins of the Creeper, or what the Creeper actually is. What it seems to be is some sort of demonic entity of some nature, of some kind. I swear, if they do go the alien route, I will be pissed. It's like, really? You're clearly making this out to be more like a supernatural demonic entity, and you were to make it an alien? I'm not saying they did that. I'm saying they're going to do that. They probably won't. They'll probably make it a demon of some kind, because if it's an alien, why doesn't it have more like high-tech things or whatever? It's some sort of demonic entity. Now, it has a humanoid form, technically. Its humanoid form looks kind of like a gargoyle. A human with sharp teeth, saggy skin, gills, fin, wings. Physically speaking, it's well beyond the normal physicality of any normal human being. Like, a normal human being cannot go toe-to-toe with a Creeper. The Creeper could punch a hole right through your chest, could tear your head off from your shoulders with his hands. No problem. The Creeper is also quite skilled with weaponry. Particularly anything that seems to have... he's got a throwing star, a shuriken made from human bone. A lot of his weapons actually seem to have elements of human bone, and they have etchings into them, which means they are drawn kind of to a target. They are magical in some ways. Things he really likes is the throwing star. I think he has a dagger, but it's more for like almost like meat carving. And he has an axe he really likes to use. He's capable of using other weapons too, but those are some of the big ones. He's pretty impervious to a lot. Like, most firearms might annoy him, but they're not gonna hurt him. Hell, in the third one, he took like a Gatling gun straight to the body, and it was really just boom, 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 boom. Okay, this is hitting me. It's kind of like when Deadpool got shot by Cable in Deadpool 2. Just boom, boom. Ow. So, yeah, it's one of those things where he definitely feels pain. He got run over in the first one by a car repeatedly, and was still pretty fucked up from it, but ultimately was able to recover because his main ability is to replace any body part he doesn't like that's going bad, or any body part he doesn't like or is going bad, basically rotting away, by consuming said body part. If he needs a new tongue, he'll eat the tongue right out of you. If he needs some eyes, he'll eat those eyes, and then they'll grow back. He needs a new liver, eat the liver. He needs a new leg, eat the leg, so forth, so on. That's kind of how the Creeper functions, more or less. Now, can you kill the Creeper? Well, it still hasn't been truly revealed if you can kill the Creeper or not. What has been shown, he only wakes up every 23 years for 23 days, and feeds during those 23 days, and then for 23 years he goes back to sleep. You could outlast him if you want to try to fight him for 23 days straight, which I wouldn't recommend doing. But here's the real thing about it is it's implied. Now, I'll admit, I've never fully watched the third movie. I've seen the first two. The first two are great. I really like this. They're like really cool modern creature feature horror movies. I really like them. And not like true creature feature, like say a monster movie in the sense of Tremors or Alien or there's a legitimate monster, but a humanoid creature. He became kind of a new horror icon, which I really appreciated with that. But in a couple of the movies, particularly I believe the second and the third one, it's implied that fin that's like it looks almost kind of like a face hugger in some regards. Can detach from the head basically, because at one point he actually gets his head taken off, but he's not dead. What happens is he takes someone else's head, puts it on his head. The fin reattaches. That fin on his back reattaches itself to the head, and it turns into his head. So there's a strong implication that the creeper himself is actually that thing, like a parasite of some kind that possesses a host and then just moves or uses it as its body. So there's a lot that can be extrapolated from that. So what we can maybe guess is really he is possible to be killed. Well, I'm really messing my words up here. It's possible he can be killed by taking that part out. No guarantee. More than anything, you could just dismember him and wait for him and try and keep him from reforming, if anything else. Because what we've seen is blowing him up does certainly hurt him, and it's tough for him to regenerate from that. He can regenerate, but he needs to actually get his body parts together. If you can just keep him from regenerating, you've effectively stopped him. Like you can be like disarm and disleg him, dismember him, and behead him, and just keep like parts separated. You can keep him from regenerating. So yeah, that's the creeper. Jason Voorhees. Now, in this, we will use... Give me 1 second. I want to figure out how many versions of Jason I'm really going to use here. Jason X obviously going to show up. We're going to use the human Jason from the 09 remake. After that, we have some problems there, because technically speaking, no matter what Jason you're using from the original series, it's the same Jason throughout the same continuity, technically speaking. So, basically, Jason Goes to Hell Jason, I guess we'll have to use. And Zombie Jason from Freddy vs. Jason. Technically, he's in the same continuity as the other the Jason X Jason, but technically not. It's a weird thing. But Jason Voorhees, obviously, you know the story. He was a mentally challenged boy, deformed, bullied at camp, drowned allegedly. His mother went on a rampage. Turns out he survived. Was living as like a hermit in the woods, and then went on a killing spree, kept coming back. Jason always is a physical, even in his weakest forms, is far more physically imposing and physically stronger than your average human. I guess the weakest version of Jason you could theoretically consider is the original Jason from the second movie, because he's just this homeless hermit in the woods. But I would say more likely the weakest technical version of Jason we would have here is the human Jason from the 09, because of the ones we're using, obviously, from the 09 movie. And even still, he's like 6'5" or something like that. Physical power, he could probably... I don't think he ever like killed someone in a single punch, but he can easily lift someone up with just one hand and like skewer them on something. So physically, he's just a monster imposing. Then you go into the higher scale Jasons, which Zombie Jason was able to just bend a bed in half and break some guy's back at the same time. Was able to thoroughly just grab a giant 20-foot, 15-ish foot iron pole, skewer two people, and throw a guy a good couple dozen yards. What else did he do in the real world? In terms of strength feats. Actually, that was pretty much all we saw for strength feats from him. I mean, he was able to throw people around like it was nothing. Then you go into the Jason Goes to Hell Jason. Admittedly, that Jason might actually not be as strong as Zombie Jason. He's physically imposing, but he's he's pretty all the forms of Jason minus surprisingly the '09 Jason, the human Jason, are pretty slow. They don't move quickly unless it's like close quarters and stuff like that. But since we're able to see the other films and the progression of that Jason, we know he's capable of bending a man in half with little problems. I'm trying to think of basically crush a guy's head, force someone through a wall, face through a metal wall in a RV. So he's still a very imposing guy, able to cut people in half with I think it was like a signpost or something like that in Jason Goes to Hell. Do you remember what that was? So durability, and then there's freaking Jason X, who, look, he's most likely the strongest version. We never truly see what he was physically capable of, but we saw him go toe-to-toe with a guy in like an exosuit. He was capable of ripping holes in people even before he got the cyber enhancements, so we can assume that he can do a lot of damage. Durability-wise, all the Jasons can take a lot of hits, but the human Jason easily is the weakest in that sense because he's mortal. He's actually the only one of them who's actually mortal, technically speaking. Though Jason X's Jason is probably mortal as well. It's just you would take a lot to kill that Jason. Because we don't even know if he survived. We're not even sure if he died through that fall through the atmosphere to the new planet Earth. So, yeah, I mean, that Jason, human Jason, could take a lot of punishment, but ultimately would go down if he like took his head off or just blew out his heart or whatever. Basically, mortal wounds would kill him. The Jason Goes to Hell Jason, though, could only technically be killed by a Voorhees. And even if you blew him up, which they eventually got a strike team to do so, his spirit would possess you to consume his heart and have him possess you. He could continue to possess people. Now, that might get into an interesting problem with the Creeper. We'll get to that in a little while. Then you have... but he could still be hurt and injured like anyone else. Then you have Zombie Jason. Could be hurt, could be damaged, but ultimately, unless you were going to take his head off or something like that, you couldn't really kill him. That said, though, with enough damage, he went down after a while. He did go down after some time, but he didn't die. He was just like, I'm going to sleep now, and then woke back up. And then again, Jason X Jason it took possibly re-entry into a planet's atmosphere to kill him, and there's no fucking guarantee that worked because it's left ambiguous on whether or not he actually lived or not. So yeah, and he could survive in a vacuum. He could survive gunfire, no problem. A cyborg that kicked his ass prior couldn't do anything to him. So yeah, durability wise, these guys, Jason's always been immensely just a brick shithouse in a tank. But after that, I mean, he's actually skilled a lot of weapons. He's just naturally gifted with weaponry, but he's always has usually a machete of some kind of blade. Excuse me. And there's not much. One of the biggest flaws of Jason, A, is that almost every version of him is pretty slow. And B, he's never been a bright guy. He's never been very smart. But he's not as dumb as you might think. He's good at just being quiet and, stalking and staring. Stalking. He's actually good at setting traps, surprisingly. He's also just surprisingly skilled at just ghosting people. He's a very good killer. So it's like savantism, basically. Or savantism, I don't think that's a word. It's like he's a savant when it comes to killing, but mentally deficient in any other faculty of his life. So those are your Jasons. So we'll go down the roster of Jasons canonically. Well, maybe not canonically. We'll go actually vice versa. We'll go human to zombie to Jason Goes to Hell to Jason X, who's probably the toughest one. So how does this break down? Let's say the Creeper in his travels makes it to the area where Camp Crystal Lake resides, wherever it may be. I don't think they actually ever say where Camp Crystal Lake actually is. Do they? I can't remember. It's been a long time since I watched any Friday movie. Friday the 13th movie. But let's see. And the Creeper, and they're attacking the Creeper, and the Creeper's going after them, and he's enjoying the game. and they go into Jason's neck of the woods, and Jason maybe takes one of them out, and just then all of a sudden him and the creeper just kind of like, what? And it's like, huh? And they just kind of stare at each other, and a fight breaks out. Now, against the human Jason, the creeper's going to have the best advantage over him. Though he's a physically powerful guy and very much stronger than your average dude, he'd probably give the creeper a solid fight. I think, for like in terms of like a normal human, he could actually give him a pretty solid physical struggle for a little bit. Creeper would overpower him though, but he would still have a machete, maybe cut the creeper's hand off, and the creeper would yell, just, and then he comes after Jason and just starts tearing him to pieces. Jason does his best to keep off the creeper, but the creeper just starts ripping him limb from limb. Maybe stabs the creeper. Creeper is just, and then takes the blade and just stabs him and just ends Jason. The human Jason we see in the remake is probably the weakest version of Jason we've ever had. Not including the original versions up until he started to become supernatural. And because of that, he's got nothing that can really, he's probably got better durability than your average guy, but he can't take the extreme hits that the creeper would dish out. Plus, the creeper is definitely more savage than Jason. The only thing this Jason has over the other Jasons is he's quicker, he's faster. He'll actually run, he'll actually move faster. So he might be able to avoid the creeper for longer than the other ones, because the other ones will probably just take the damage. But ultimately, the creeper would just end that Jason. Move over to the zombie Jason, Freddy versus Jason. And again, he's slow moving, but he'll take a lot more punishment than the other Jason will. And he's physically a lot stronger. In fact, he's probably stronger than the strongest version of Jason, other than Jason X that we have. So when the creeper comes to dish the damage, he starts to grab Jason, starts to rip at him. Jason grabs him and then just throws him down on the ground, starts stabbing him repeatedly, and then he kicks Jason off. Jason gets back up. Creeper's now pissed off, and he can't even fly right because Jason actually accidentally hit one of his wings. Wasn't even attempting to do so, but he hit one of them. So now he just comes at him, kind of staggers and charges Jason. Now they go toe to toe for a while. Jason just grabs his head, just twists it, but then the creeper does the same thing, twists Jason's head. Now, it's not proven in the movie if doing that would kill Jason. Probably taking his head off would pretty much put him down, but it was never shown if breaking his neck would kill him. If I am to be the guessing man here, I will say no, but because of the nature of, the human anatomy, breaking his neck would paralyze him, or temporarily paralyze him. He would probably regenerate from it eventually, although his head would still be backwards, so it'd be like Deadpool, just, and then he'd probably finally straighten his head up, be paralyzed again temporarily, and wake back up. But that's the problem, is his regeneration, while almost indefinite, is slow. It's not like Wolverine where he's just gonna, or Deadpool, and then just, fixes it. It's basically going to, it's going to be that the creeper then readjusts his head and then starts to just beat the living shit out of Jason at that point. Jason, physically, I think he's probably equal, if not maybe a bit stronger than the creeper in the Freddy versus Jason. But again, every other Jason besides the 2009 is just slow. The creeper is not. Creeper's also a lot smarter, and I didn't even go into all the shit with his truck, which probably wouldn't play a factor in this fight anyway. So, unless they're fighting near his truck, which I don't think would happen in a realistic scenario for me, because he's not going to be driving all the way into the woods, the thick-ass woods. Well, that's not entirely true, but in this case, he's not going to have his truck. Because I guess at that point, I'll say that's probably an unfair advantage against everyone except maybe the Jason X Jason. So, anyway. He pretty much either starts dismembering Jason, or he just breaks his neck. Jason can't move for a while and just thinks he killed Jason, and Jason's just kind of and just waits for his body to reheal. But at that point, the creeper's going to be gone, so I'm going to have to give it to the creeper in that fight as well. Now, Jason Goes to Hell Jason is a weird one. Physically, in an actual fight, the creeper's gonna win. Starts to dismantle him, maybe even takes his head off, he's gonna win. However, with this, you can't he's not a Voorhees unless he somehow took the body of a Voorhees, which, hey, if you want to give them a legitimate win, sure, go with that route. But the problem here is you can't kill this Jason unless you're a Voorhees. Even blowing him up, his spirit lingered. And it's just like, okay, eat my heart so I can possess you now. Come on, Keith David. Come on. Pretty sure that was Keith David. No, that wasn't Keith David, was it? I've seen that actor before. Damn it! I want to look it up, but I'm doing a video. I'll look it up after. Anyway, I want to say... No, wait, no, that wasn't Keith David. That was the guy who played, oh, God, the Don King knockoff in Rocky V. Now I remember who it was. Anyway, so... they did look very similar. And I think they sounded a little similar, too. But... So the spirit lingers, and, just to, you say, yeah, it's like, I'm going to eat your heart now, because maybe Jason actually did skewer his heart and needs a new one, so he eats the heart. So what happens here? Is Jason able to possess the Creeper? And if he is, I don't think he'd care about actually getting a new body at that point, because like, oh shit, I've got this. Oh wait, my mom began like swearing. Oh darn. I've got this body. Ooh, wings. Fun. Is that what happens? I'm unfortunately going to say no. It's an interesting concept, but the problem with it is this. Jason, by all definition at that point, was kind of a demon. Not a very powerful demon, mind you. I mean, you just probably, God knows how many more demons. Like, he got dragged back to hell. Hell, Freddy was making him his bitch. Freddy's a dream demon, more or less. As long as they're in his world, yeah. So, Jason at that point had kind of become a demon. But he was overpowering human souls at that point. He didn't go up against anyone else, a demonic entity, whatever. He was overpowering humans. And the Creeper has been around for a long time. A couple 100 years, it's been implied he's been around. At least. So, he's a demonic or supernatural entity that's been around, had a lot more experience, knows a lot more about this shit, is a lot smarter. I don't think Jason's spirit overpowers the Creeper's spirit. So when he tries to, the Creeper more or less just devours his soul, more, I would guess. So, yeah, Jason X Jason don't win this fight. But it's an interesting theory. Now that you get to Jason X Jason. So, we have to change up kind of how this happens now. Let's assume that it's in the future, of Jason X's future. And they've caught the Creeper. The Creeper's been in containment for God knows how many years. Wouldn't you know it, he just happens to be on the same ship as Jason X, as a research topic. And he gets loose, same time Jason X is loose. He eats a couple people, regenerates, and then him and Jason X square off in Camp Crystal Lake simulation, and the fight goes down. And unfortunately for the Creeper, this is where he falls short. As physically powerful as he is, as fast as he is, as smart as he is, he does not have the tech unless for some reason he became, because that's what he was called, Uber Jason. Unless he somehow got the nanites and became Uber Creeper, which is a horrendous concept in the most awesome and dumb of ways, he's got no way of physically overpowering Jason at that point. He just can't do it. From everything we've seen of the Creeper, he can't take Jason on at that point. So when he tries to come in, claws, he maybe even breaks his claws. Jason grabs him, just slices him, slices down the side. Creeper's still alive, but he's like, and then Jason starts just ripping him into shreds, and then throws him out an airlock. So, and then maybe he goes through the Earth's atmosphere and just incinerates with Jason. Allegedly. So, Jason X is the only Jason I think can beat the Creeper. Otherwise, I'm sorry, the Creeper completely overwhelms the 09 human version of Jason. Got better regenerative capabilities than zombie Jason from Freddy vs. Jason, and is just more durable because if you twist the Creeper's neck, he'll honestly just fix that right on the spot. You twist Jason's neck, he might recover, but it's going to take a while. And then he's going to have to snap his neck back again and recover from that. And then you get Jason Goes to Hell Jason, who it's a weird gray area, but I don't think his spirit dominates the creeper spirit. So really, the only Jason who can beat the creeper is the cyborg Jason, I think. So 3 out of 4 times, it's the creeper who wins. 75% of the time, creeper's going to take this fight. But what do you think? Do you think, honestly, it's going to be the creeper who wins the majority of the time, like I said? Or do you think all the versions of Jason could actually stand a better chance at winning than the creeper does? Well, let me know in the comments below. But thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. I just win Star Wars, Super Magic, whatever, anything I do on the channel. Put that in the comments below. Let me know. I'll get to it at some point. So thanks for watching. I'll be back with What If in a little while. Later, folks.